What's up, comic fans? And it's time for that new comic book day haul plus review. So we're gonna get into the new books. We got some 50 centers. We're gonna touch on all these books and we're gonna get into it right after this. Welcome back. All right, let's get into it. We're gonna start off with those 50 centers. Alright, so I got this warehouse by me, for those of you just first getting here, and they do 50-cent books. I think they call it the warehouse or the garage. But yeah, so they take a lot of their overstock or a lot of the stuff that's not selling. Sometimes it's even modern books. From maybe, even 4 weeks ago, maybe even 2 weeks ago. They may have ordered too much. They throw it in the bins and they sell it for 50 cents. Sometimes it's damaged stock, it could be ratios or something like that. But anyway, you never know what you're gonna find in there. And sometimes you find some goodies. When it first opened, there was some really cool keys, minor keys in there. And now there's still a lot of stuff in there, but you gotta dig just a little bit harder. All right, let's get into it. Enough talking about a 50-cent warehouse. Brian Buccellato did this book, really good. It's called Cannibal, the second original. So the theme for these books are all indies. That's what I did. I picked out indie books for this one. We're going back to the beginning of time with Image, and we're really not going that far back. But this is a nice embossed title here. Half foily, half regular. You got the blood coming out. Wildstar #1. Jerry Ordway worked on this one. So, Image. All right, here we go. Everybody's got to have this one in their collection. I got it for 50 cents. But yeah, I think this is not Mark Spears. This is a J.P. Sears book. But anyway, Turok, the Dinosaur Hunter. By the way, you cannot put this in the microwave. I mean, you can try. It's gonna make a lot of noise, all right? So, and I said you cannot do it. So don't come at me saying, Cup said I could put it in the microwave. I did not. All right, last but not least, this guy, he's always around, always in the zeitgeist of comics. People, he's very polarizing. People love him or hate him, or love to hate him. Anyway, it's Liefeld's Brigade #1. So there you go. Got a Liefeld cover here on Brigade #1. I think this is a newsstand, but I'm not sure. First issue. All right, guys, those were the 50 centers. Now let's get into this week's books. So when I do this week's book, sometimes it's books from a couple weeks ago, but whatever. First off, I read this week. It's just books that I caught up on and read. I actually didn't read this week. I just think I forgot to put it in the video. So we got the Ultimates 13 3.0. Basically, the Ultimates have tried two plans. They tried plan A, plan B. Those didn't work out. So now they're on plan C to try to figure out how to stop the maker from coming back to this universe he created. He's created the Ultimate Universe. That's where he was originally out of. And they're working hard on trying to stop that. All right, next up, I read these pretty much in order. I had already read the first issue a couple of weeks ago, but I had fallen behind. This was a 4-part miniseries. Maybe I should have pulled out the first issue so you could at least seen that, but we didn't. This is Bjorn Behrens on the cover. Medieval Spawn, issue #2. Issue #3. This is not Bjorn. And then issue #4. Issue #4 came out this week, right? So this was a 4-issue mini. Doesn't actually say it on the cover, but it was. And it's kind of giving, I would say, people's, like, he's maybe a top 3 to top 5 Spawn. It's a lot of Spawns to actually talk about. But medieval usually ranks up there. You got regular Spawn, Al Simmons. You got Gunslinger Spawn is usually pretty popular, and then medieval Spawn kind of is in there. I feel like he's a distant third to those guys, maybe even a distant fourth. I wouldn't say distant fourth. Sorry, Gunslinger and regular Spawn, and then medieval somewhere. I mean, if you got a Spawn who you like more than this guy, let me know. Put it in the comments. Anyway, to make a long story short, this one is kind of not even an origin story. It's not an origin of medieval Spawn. It's kind of an origin of possibly a future villain that's going to cause some issues for medieval. Basically, medieval Spawn is doing his thing with his band of merry men. He's got like a small army, garrison, whatever you want to call it, of guys. They fight demons. Whatever. There's this one big demon, Abraxas, who gets summoned, if you will, destroys this town. Medieval Spawn kind of takes on or adopts this kid Richard, has pretty much a squire. Never quite tells him though that he's a Hellspawn. So meanwhile they're fighting all these demons. He doesn't tell him that he's actually one of these demons. Anyway, they get into the big fight with Abraxas. Richard finds out he's a Hellspawn himself, a demon, if you will. And Richard's like, get away from me. Like, can't trust you. It's a trauma. Demons killed his parents, so Richard is very traumatized by it. Anyway, supposedly we're gonna flash forward after that. There's more stories to come from that. But that's my synopsis. I'm thinking about doing a kind of a short synopsis of this and start doing a couple of other ones, but we'll see if that actually starts to happen. Remember, you heard it here first. You may start getting medieval Spawn, the abridged version from this guy. All right, next, we're still on the indies. We have part of that Spawn universe. We have Sam and Twitch Case Files number 16. I have a lot of these issues to catch up on. I won't even tell you what's going on in that one. Just know Sam and Twitch out there solving stuff. This is an interesting book. It's got a very it's happening during pretty much the Cold War. I'm gonna say World War II era. Dropped bombs, if you will. Anyway, there is a fallout event in this one. Some rogue general, I think he was a general, ends up setting off a bomb. It's creating these, assuming the bomb is of some kind of nuclear fallout, hence from the fallout, it's created these like zombie-like creatures that are now invading this town in Nevada, growing a little bit. So almost like a zombie book, if you will. Chris Condon wrote this. I think it's pretty good. Pretty good. All right, we're switching gears now. We're at Marvel. I don't think I have any DC books this week. Sorry, guys. Anyway, we got the Ultimates 14. So we read 13. This is 14. Basically, this is Hawkeye and Cap. They are disrupting the system, all right? There is Roxxon and these other companies have like all these systems that are helping to keep everybody in control, The Ultimates, or this part of the Ultimates, is out there kind of disrupting things. We get introduced to the Scarlet Witch, and we get Quicksilver in this one, and we also get the White Queen showing up, all right? So I guess she's not on the cover, so maybe we'll just quickly try to find her. I hate handling these books more than once because the paper they're made on is so cheap. How apropos would it be if this book just ripped in my hand right now? Let's see. Gotta see if we can find the White Queen. Anyway, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch were raised to be, protectors for Roxxon and those companies. There's the White Queen. There you go. There's Emma Frost. Anyway, they don't start out as bad guys. By the end of it, who knows? But the Ultimates have defeated them, have captured them, and they're like, we don't take prisoners. So we'll see what happens from there on out. This may arguably be the best Ultimate Universe book on the market. Ultimate Spider-Man. All right, issue 19. Last we checked in, Richard, pretty sure it's Richard Parker, a lot of Richards, gets captured or gets bamboozled, and he ends up being face to face with the Kingpin. We see the first Venom, like first full appearance of Venom. Like the name Venom has been mentioned in other comics. So Richard Parker has the black suit, so we kind of get a glimpse of what that Venom is. It's non-symbiotic, by the way. It's created by a suit. But yeah, it's a good comic. I'd check that out. That may lead to some minor specs, since that's like the first appearance of Venom. First full in that that image or whatever. Okay, anyway, moving on. We have the Incredible Hulk number 27. This book pretty much brought me to tears. It talks about abuse, domestic abuse, criminality, stuff like that. At least that's what it doesn't. I said it talks about it. It's not a PSA, but it hints on it. All right. But you got a kid in here who Hulk meets, whose father doesn't treat him right, and Hulk smash. So just as you should do with anybody who abuses their children. All right. Anyway, without getting too much more into that issue, really good book. I think pound for pound, the best horror book on the market. All right. So that is Incredible Hulk number 27. And then last but not least, this has been a series of books. I believe this is part 4 of 7. It started with Doctor Doom, then we had the Green Goblin, then we had the Abomination, now we have Loki. This is Bring On the Bad Guys number 1, Loki. And what is better than Loki versus Mephisto in terms of like tricking and getting over on people and all that other stuff? Nothing. So this book right here, really good, definitely worth a read. You could jump in I think pretty much on any of these. There is a backstory, so you probably want to start off with the Doctor Doom one, at least to get that kind of origin story. And then issue 2 has another origin story in here. But basically Mephisto's trying to gain control over all the souls on Earth. And that's the premise behind this. He's recruited these bad guys who are in trouble, whether it's incarcerated or don't want to get ratted on, so to speak, stuff like that. But Mephisto cuts him a deal. Help me capture this soul. Boom, everything's solved, everything's erased. Anyway, that's what he's doing here. You kind of get a taste of what Mephisto does if you've been watching the Ironheart series too. At the end of that, you kind of see similar things, and there's always a price to be paid for doing that. But when you have Loki and Mephisto, Loki helping out Mephisto, things can get a little bit hectic, if you will. I mean, he is the god of tricks, right? So, the trickster god. So yeah, guys, that was my new comic book day haul plus review. We had some 50 centers. If you like the content, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Go ahead and throw me a thumbs up, comment down below. Do what you do, I'ma do what I do. I'ma get ready for next week's books. Peace, deuces, we're out. Ka-chink.